Next up, we have our annual recap. So what have we been doing in Alameda Connects and the Alameda Corridor Business Improvement District? We're going to give you an overview of what we've done so far. Obviously, there's still a couple of months left this year, so it's not everything. And Sarah Hansel and I are going to kind of tag team this. We work together on everything, by the way, we're a team, so we work on the art projects, and she does most of the outreach, but you know, we really work on everything together. So with that, oh, it's already up. There's another clicker. Okay, so we'll see if this works. Alameda Connects and the Alameda Corridor Business Improvement District. So we always like to, and there's our team photos, by the way. I think I need to do one. So just to kind of go through this again, so we always have to explain this a little bit. So we're really two organizations, but more or less with the same goal. So Alameda Connects, 501c6 nonprofit, originally created as the Alameda Gateway Community Association in 1997, funded with membership dues. And we actually provide services to ACBID. So Sarah and I are actually employees of Alameda Connects, providing services for the Business Improvement District. We have a volunteer board of directors. And really, when people ask me about what we do, we're really focused on connecting the community. That's really what we're all about. These meetings, the social media, the weekly newsletters that you get, and a lot of things we do just in terms of connecting organizations, connecting businesses with each other and with organizations. And then the ACBID, or Alameda Corridor Business Improvement District, is a what we call a quasi-municipal corporation. So we're a creation under state law, what's called the Colorado Business Improvement District Act, passed by the Colorado State Legislature, created by the Lakewood City Ordinance in 2003. So we started out with the Alameda Gateway Community Association, the nonprofit, but to really have a sustainable source of funding, the Business Improvement District was created in 2003. So business owners actually voted to tax themselves, property tax mill levy of 5.72 mils. We have a 7-member board of directors, that's by city ordinance. They are appointed by city council. So in other words, the initial board was appointed by city council. Any board members who go off the board, they have to be replaced by appointment also by the city council. So we are really a creation of the city, so to speak. So that's kind of an overview, just good to remember. Two organizations. Priorities for the Business Improvement District now, just to explain, so with the Business Improvement District every year has to go to City Council and get its budget and operating plan approved. Again, because we are a creation of the city. So we did that recently. It was done on the City Council's consent agenda. Sometimes we do a presentation. We didn't end up doing one this year. So City Council, and what that's really meant to be is kind of an oversight, checks and balances thing, so that there is some accountability for what we do. So in other words, we don't just operate completely on our own without anybody overseeing what we do. These are the major priorities of the Business Improvement District: economic development and marketing, corridor beautification, and corridor safety. So recap of what we've done so far in 2020. So we've been involved with the Alameda Streetscape project. That's primarily a project of the Lakewood Reinvestment Authority, but they have consulted with us quite a bit on it, and we appreciate that. They've done a fantastic job so far. I don't know if anybody's gone out and really taken a full look at what's been done as part of this project, but it's just fantastic. The 10-foot sidewalks are, a great addition. And they're all concrete sidewalks. Replaced all the asphalt that's out there, so it's a lot safer and a nice wide sidewalk for cyclists and walkers and people in wheelchairs, etc. And just fantastic plantings. There's some areas in the future that we'd like to address that are not part of the project, but remarkably, and I need to mention Mr. Smith, who's actually the director of the Lakewood Reinvestment Authority, has really stretched the dollars that they had available for this project. So they were able to put a sidewalk and some additional trees and landscaping in places we didn't think they were going to be able to cover. In the future, there are some things we'd like to address that we're talking about, a couple of small areas on the corridor that there was not the funding to be able to do much with. But really, overall, a great job by Lakewood Reinvestment Authority, and thanks for working with us on this. So, few projects we've been involved with. Another thing that we're most excited about right now is the Discover Alameda Trail. We actually just recently received a grant from the Colorado Department of Transportation of $25,000 of their Revitalizing Main Street program to complete this trail. So we've already got a couple of features in place I wanted to talk about. So first, our traffic box wraps. We wrapped a dozen boxes from Hughes Street to Garrison. The large traffic boxes, we did some of the smaller ones as well with artwork from local artists. We did have a team of artists from as far away as Wheatland, Wyoming that also helped out with that. So people ask me, how long do these wraps last? They're typically guaranteed 5 to 7 years, but they usually last 10 years. It just depends on, Colorado weather is kind of brutal on our work at times with sunshine and hailstorms and all those kinds of things. But this is one feature of that's considered to be part of the project. We also have our history icons. We have 8 of these at the Teller and Wadsworth intersections, and we're going to be adding at least 5 to 6 more over the next few months. What these are is sandblasted images that tell some of the history stories of the Alameda Corridor. We're going to be adding QR codes to these so that if you take a tour with your smartphone, you can go along, use your QR code. It'll tell you what that's all about. It'll bring up a picture from our website. So we have photos on there of, for example, Villa Italia, the Belmar Mansion, Lakewood's agricultural history. You can also just print out the information from our website and use that to take a tour. But we're adding the QR codes because obviously people nowadays are using their smartphones a lot more. So these will be features these features already exist. So Discover Alameda, I guess I should explain without breaking something. Discover Alameda is intended to bring together everything that we've done so far in the corridor in the way of public art and history and the natural features added to the Lakewood Reinvestment through the Alameda Streetscape project. Bring them all together into a whole picture of the corridor and allow people to go out and discover it all. So using technology to do that, so again, this is all, by the way, this is all on the website right now. You can go in and take a virtual tour of our traffic boxes, of our history icons, of all of our artworks. You can take a virtual tour, you can go out in person and look at each one of those and take a selfie with it, which is something we work at. So Discover Alameda has these elements to it already. Oops, here we go. Also our hand sanitizer barrel art. I call this public art meets public health. So we were at the beginning of the COVID crisis trying to figure out, well, what's something to help increase public confidence in being out in public, but would also look good. And we initially kind of just looked at it from the public health angle and tried to buy hand sanitizer dispenser stands, and you couldn't get them. They were on 6-month back order. So this required a little bit of innovation and creative thinking. Unfortunately, Sarah's son worked for Recycled Matters, and they happen to have a lot of barrels sitting around. So we were able to make use of that. So we bought the barrels from Gordon and Recycled Matters. We hired a local handyman to build housings for the hand sanitizer. And then we worked with Valkyrie Gallery to bring in artists, local artists, to paint the barrels. So we ended up with 30 of these, and they're all located in Lakewood Commons, Belmar, and Metro West Housing Solutions, and a couple of their projects. And we also, just this past year, put plaques on all of the Alameda Corridor Business Improvement District public artworks, all the sculptures. They didn't have plaques before, telling you that they were commissioned by ACBID, but they are there now if you look. So there's a photo of one of them. So it's really important because people are walking along, and a lot of times you'll get people who are curious about, what's the artwork called? Who's the artist and why is this here? So now we have that plaque on there at least, so they'll know, well, it's the Alameda Corridor Business Improvement District. Wow. So we get that out there. So that's another component of the trail. So again, we got a $25,000 revitalizing Main Street grant, and just a couple of weeks ago that was approved. We haven't actually received any money from it yet, but we're finalizing the paperwork, and so we're hoping this will be a complete, and when I say complete, we're hoping all the way from basically Sheridan to Carr Street and beyond. So it won't just be Belmar, although Belmar will be a component of it. And Belmar kind of really becomes an urbanized trail, but it's going to have some segments that take you back, to like to Oakview Park, to Great Ross Park. So it'll have different 20-minute segments to it. So it's designed to give you kind of a 20-minute radius around where the signage is located and connects you with all the features that you may want to look at in there. So the public artwork, the history icons, etc. So pivoting, and some of this I'm going to kind of resume because we already talked about. So in March, of course, we had a pivot like other organizations did. What did we do? So Alameda Connects, we jumped in, we were able to create what we call our We Can Do It grants. We're trying to look for kind of a positive name for those. And so we did $12,000, or 12 grants of $1,000 each to members. So you had to actually come in and apply for grants. And then we already had two programs that were out there, the Small But Mighty business grants and the Make a Difference, or nonprofit Make a Difference grants. So we actually had already determined who the awardees were going to be for those grants at the time that COVID was hit, at the time the lockdown hit in March. So we allowed the conversion of those grants, if necessary, for other purposes, because some organizations are, we just can't do what we originally planned to do. Now we're just, getting by day to day. So most of them were able to go through with their original projects, but some of them did have to use the money for COVID-related expenses. So that's Alameda Connects. On the Alameda bid side, so we did the COVID-19 Small Business Innovation and Adaptation Grants, or SBIA grants program, and these were really focused on adaptation to COVID, as opposed to just paying, paying rent or paying an insurance bill or whatever it would happen to be, which of course are important needs. But long term, how do you innovate and adapt to these new conditions? Because we were talking already at that time, this is going back to April, May, that this was not something that was going to disappear quickly. That we're going to have to look at how we adapt in the long term, at least over the next 2 years, if not longer. So that program was geared towards those adaptations. We also did a round of restaurant outdoor expansion grants, 4 grants of $850 each, and actually one of them went to Stack for their outdoor seating area. And so we actually have another round of grants because we ended up ultimately applying for a grant from the Department of Local Affairs that was actually CARES dollars. So we received a grant of $50,000, the Business Improvement District did. So that funded round 1, the small SBIA grants and the outdoor expansion grants. We just launched a second round of our SBIA grants, which basically will take up the additional $25,000 of our grant. And so that just launched, essentially the same parameters as the SBIA grants program. These will be just, we're doing 14 grants of $1,500 a piece. And it's this for small businesses, 50 or fewer employees. There's more information on this on our website. So that just launched, I believe we put that up last. By the way, if anybody
Just leave it.
if anybody has any questions, at least for dropping things, if anybody has any questions, feel free to stop me. So again, with the bid grants that funded, we ended up receiving a grant to fund those from the Colorado Department of Local Affairs, and we really appreciate the help on that. And if you are interested, if you're a small business owner, or if you know somebody is who might be interested in them, those grants just Some other things, so we also distributed signage for local businesses throughout the Alameda Corridor, entering the business and preventing the spread of the disease. So Sarah actually went out and went door to door handing out these signs. I already mentioned the hand sanitizer barrels that we have out on the corridor. We had 30 barrels, public art, public health. I love Santa. So what else? Feeding the front lines. So we did an event actually connected with Lakewood's Earth Day back in April, where we provided lunch to Lakewood, or West Metro Fire, rescue employees, and Lakewood Police Department with food provided from snack zones. Very nice event. They really appreciated that. And it's just good to really acknowledge our first responders, especially in a difficult time. Restaurant gift card giveaways. So we were trying to find a way that we could help with feeding people, other than just giving money. So initially we thought about, well, do we buy meals and distribute them? How do we go about doing this? We ended up partnering with Jeffco Schools Foundation on this. So they were only able to provide food to the kids. So through their feeding sites at different high schools, cars would pull up, they could provide meals to all of the kids that were in the car, but nothing for the adults. So we found one way that we could help was to provide restaurant gift cards to be handed out for the adults in the car, because obviously they need to eat too. So Sarah went out and actually manned the site at Alameda International High School for a number of Mondays when they were operating the feeding site there, and handed out the gift cards. So we've got a total of 800 of them. I think we went through most of those over the course of the season. Thanks to Sarah for standing out in the heat. She did have a water bottle, so you know, we're gonna try to kill it. So that was a really great program. We're hoping to continue to partner with them. Obviously, food is going to be one of the issues with the economic repercussions of COVID, so it's going to continue to be a problem. We're going to continue to work with our partners to help on this wherever we can. So community events, believe it or not, we actually did pull some off. We had the Blarney on Belmar free event at Belmar in early March, and we actually had the distinction of being the only, as far as I know, only St. Patrick's Day event in the Denver metro area that actually went off, because we did it a week early. There wasn't any parade, it was brutal. So we're going to tell people from now on, you know, just come to our event, because you never know, it might be the only one. So it was very well attended. We had bagpipers, we had dancers, we had a Irish band. It was really a lot of fun. Partnering with the Hyde on this, and this is one of the things that we really, I think, gotten good at, is partnering with people who know how to do things that we don't know how to do. So they just handled all of the alcohol service. So we had the event there, so we didn't have to mess with permits or anything like that. They took care of it all. And very well attended. We had our July drive-in movie, Ferdinand, and ordinarily we started doing a movie in the park last year, but couldn't do that this year safely, so we turned it into a drive-in. Sarah worked with the company that does that, and it turned out fantastic. So we raised $360, which was donated to the Action Center. We did charge per car for that event. Very fun. And then we did our Alameda Ramblin' Music Showcase. So originally this was supposed to be one big event with 3 bands. And to make it safer, and well, there were a couple of things that came together here. One is that Belmar was not going to be able to do their regular concert series on Fridays. They usually do all 3 months of the summer. And so they weren't going to be able to do anything, and we really didn't want to have one big event. We thought it'd be safer to divide it up into 3 smaller ones. So we just moved it over to Belmar. Originally we were going to have it on the Lakewood Civic Center Plaza. So we moved it over to Belmar. We partnered with Larry, and drink sales were by the Lakewood Kiwanis. We had the maintenance and security services from Belmar. So again, you know, kind of a good collaborative effort to pull off all 3 of these concerts. All sold out. We intentionally limited them to 75 people, though could have had 175. We wanted to kind of be over cautious and not take any chances with that. were all masked, social distancing, sold out, great fun events. Was anybody able to attend? Doug was there. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Community bike rides, we did three of those this year. We're really hoping to expand in the coming year and be able to do more of those, or maybe kind of split it up, maybe do a walking tour of Belmar architecture or something like that. So it's kind of something we're going to continue to refine and probably partner with others on. And event sponsorship. So we do a lot of this as well. Historically, we've really started to get into this more in the last few years. City of Lakewood Virtual Earth Day, so we were a sponsor of that event back in April. Lakewood Concerts in the Park, they had to refine what they did this year in terms of numbers of people, limiting the number of people, and social distancing, etc. Something that you may not know about, spoiler alert, I don't think it's out there yet, but Lakewood is doing a Halloween movie night on October 30th. And so we jumped in recently and said, well, we'll be a sponsor of that event as well. We were sponsored with the Fire Muster Lakewood Lamppost contest that is apparently returning this year. Again, spoiler alert on this part of it, but as we come into the holidays, one of the concerns, the city of course is undergoing some budget problems and wasn't going to be able to have their usual holiday lights. They canceled the mayor's tree lighting. But we did jump in and say, hey, we'll pay for some of the lights. Let's try to raise some money to be able to light some more of the lights out there. Yeah, that's kind of a spoiler alert. So coming up, you'll probably hear more about that soon. So they are doing the lamppost contest, and there are going to be some lights, which is going to be good, because I think everybody would have been impressed with that. And so sponsorships, and again, we have great partners to work with. The city of Lakewood is just always fantastic. Usual communities partnerships, Jeffco Boys and Girls Clubs, Passions Project of Lakewood, which you already heard about, and Young Marytown, big continues their sponsorship of those entities. So next, I'm going to have Sarah cover partnerships, stay involved, and outreach and membership.
Good morning. So we have really ramped up our partnership with organizations along the corridor and of course branching outside the corridor. Colorado University's EMS program, which you heard about last month, we're starting to really build that program with them and help it carry over just all over Lakewood. We really started to connect well with Jeffco Career Links. So what happened in 2020 is we all know everything shut down. What Jeffco Career Links does with their high school seniors is they send them out 1 day a week, 2 to 4 hours in a department of an organization. So I like to use Village at Belmar as a great example. They have numerous different departments, about 12. So in each department, the kiddos would come and stay for 2 to 4 hours just in that department to be really immersed to see what that department's like. They do that through the whole first semester of school until December. And then the second semester, that's when they get to decide, you know what, I'm really interested in culinary. So then they'll come back and do an internship for the rest of the year with just that culinary department, because that's what they decided they really were passionate about. They thought they were passionate about something else, and then when they went over there, they were like, oh, I don't want to do that. I want to do something else. So it's really getting these kids on a pathway after high school so that they can kind of stay focused in an area that they're passionate about. We are doing our farmers market this year again. It went off. I know a lot of you attended. We leave reusable bags on the table, and this year we had over 500 reusable bags taken out by folks that were shopping at the farmers market, which is good because plastic bags are very popular over at the farmers market. So glad to see those take off. We're always in community improvement projects. Belmar Community Connection has a project going on that we're partnering with. We're always in contact with them to see how we can help the vibrancy of the area. We've now reconnected strongly with OK Park. Justin's here today. We appreciate that. And then Weir Gulch Garden Association, they're starting to get very, very involved in the area. So we're glad to reconnect with both of those OK and Weir Gulch folks. corridor safety improvement. I'm always working with the CAT team, but now we're starting to take steps to make our business owners feel a little bit more safe. So our first step is crime prevention posters that Tom and I went door to door handing out to our business owners. We worked with the CAT team to develop a poster. Those posters are back there if you'd like to take one. They're just a few tips reminding business owners on how to keep their area safe. We will start to take more steps once the CAT team has figured out where we can fill the gap. That's what we're gonna do. Also to piggyback on those posters, if you wanted to grab any of the COVID posters that I handed out, I brought some in today. And then just in September, we created the first Alameda Corridor business improvement commercial property listing. So we have the Curtis Norris building on there right now, the Cashin Company has a building on there, and then where our office is on Harlan, our building listing is on there right now. Before that, I can't remember the name of the internet site, something Loop. That was the only one that had commercial property listings. This one's corridor specific, so it's just for the corridor area. So if you know of anybody that has a listing they'd like to do, just have them send me an email. They're more than welcome to, I'll put it up on the website. Next. So this is we had to pivot as well when it came to our Alameda Connects membership benefits. We were not able to attend all of the regular festivals and outreach events that we do where we take our members' information and we give it to people when we talk about them. So we really ramped up our engagement online. So our Instagram and Twitter accounts were kind of just a bit stagnant, I guess you could say. So this, although it seems like a really low number to have a 2% increase, it's actually really big in the social media world. To have a 4.5% increase on Instagram is huge. So the new social media intern that I have, we lost our Sasha, she graduated, good for her. So his name is Will. So we really just started to build those platforms, and they're starting to really catch hold and go forward. So Facebook, we had an increase, which we usually do. Will is really focused on our LinkedIn account, which I asked him to do. Not posting what you would find on Facebook, you know, ads or sales or deals. We're posting more focused business-related information, which is what LinkedIn is for. It's for business people who want to get business information. So we're starting to build that one. And then our newsletter, we're doing the footwork. I was calling people, emailing people back, talking to them on the street. If I was on the street talking to people, when I was delivering those posters, we really were able to gather more email addresses to plop into our newsletter. So we had really a nice, significant increase on email addresses to the newsletter. So, that wraps that one up. So, like I said, we had to pivot as well. I'm not able to go to any of these events where I can engage with the public. So what we've done, and this is part of the Alameda Connects membership, as well as having access to the Alameda Connects grants, we posted over almost 3,000 times for our members. So with the new initiative that we started just in September, we're reposting, retweeting, sharing our members' own posts. So Staff Subs is a great example. They put a post on their Facebook page, their Twitter account, their Instagram, and then we go back in and we piggyback on that and share it and retweet it. So we're starting to see more traction on engagement for our members. That was one way that we figured that we could pivot, because I'm not able to go out in the public and tell everybody about everything that we're doing. That's it for us. That's it for my side of the business. Tom, you want to wrap things up for us?
Yes. Thank you, Sarah. And so, again, that's kind of a year-to-date update on what we're doing. We've got some more exciting things coming down the road. One of the things that we're finding, that we have found in 2020, is everything takes twice as long as it did before. So, it doesn't matter what it is. We have plans for, as part of Discover Alameda, we're also putting in shade structure and a bike repair station down at Chase Street in the Alameda Frontage Road. That's taking twice as long as it was supposed to, because everything is delayed. Obviously, the city of Lakewood, all organizations had to pivot. So the Lakewood building department had to pivot to a new system, and that takes longer. I'm sure that they're learning to adapt, but contractors are likewise have had to adapt, and that's everything's taking longer on that end. So that's been but it's 2020, right? what can you say? All you have to do is say it's 2020. So everything we have in the hopper right now, it's all going to happen. We've got some other really exciting things. If you go over to Belmar and you look tomorrow, actually it's going to go up today. If you go and look on the east wall of the Hyatt, you'll see a new mural, and that's going to be put up this afternoon at 3:30, and it's called Spirits of the Plains. It's a mural we actually bought from the West Colfax Mural Fest last year. We have a pilot project to paint the back panels on bus shelters on Alameda, the ones that face sidewalks. That's actually launching today as well. We're doing one to see how well the paint adheres to the metal. So we've got some other projects like that out there too, some new things that we're trying this year. And there's more to come, so keep an eye on our, follow us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, sign up for our newsletter. If you don't get it, I think everybody in this room probably gets it. Sarah?
I had one more quick thing that I wanted to mention. Just about the Jeffco Career Links program that I'm doing with these kiddos. Hospitality has come to a screeching halt. These kids are not allowed to go into any of the retirement communities or senior living communities that we have. So they are in desperate need to have someone take on just 4 interns in the world of hospitality. I'm working with the Sheridan and also the Hyatt to see where we can put some kiddos. Unfortunately, because their staff is so limited, one person is now doing multiple jobs, so they're kind of having a hard time wrapping their heads around where they can put these kiddos to experience engineering or marketing or sales, food distribution. So if you guys have any ideas, please let me know. You can email me. My email address is right up there, and I would really appreciate it. So these kiddos. That's all.
Great. Thanks, Sarah. Well, with that, we'll wrap up. Are there any questions, Doug?
If I could just jump in with a quick story. Tom did a great job of an overview of the grants program that we administered this year. But a quick story to kind of put that, into use. The old 121 brewery here on Wadsworth. March hit, their entire business model is people coming in and trying their beer. It's done in March. That grant, which Tom and Sarah turned around in about 2 weeks, put $1,000 in the pocket of Old 121 Brewing. They used that $1,000 to buy 32-ounce Crowler cans. Their out the door takeout sales increased 600% as a result. And this was before the feds and frankly everybody else was able to act. So the quick and nimble action on Tom and Sarah's part really helped out in that case. And the old 121 team, which I'm a big fan of, shared that at that time, they knew they had to do that, but if you didn't have money to hand the can providers, they wouldn't even take an order because obviously they were in low supply. So it was just one of those great examples of how those grants were used to help our small businesses.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, that's a great example. Yeah, at that time, aluminum growlers were like PPE. Just tough to get. If you didn't have cash on the barrelhead, you weren't going to get it.
And we desperately needed the beer.
That's right. One of the things that helps to go through the pandemic. So, great. Gordon?
2 things, questions. One is on the commercial site listing deal. Is that only for sales or is it also for leases?
It's absolutely for both lease and sales.
It's for both.
Yep.
Okay. And then secondarily, we've all heard about this Will guy, but we don't know anything about him. How come he doesn't come to these meetings? He's pretty quality.
Well, it's a CCU student, and he has school on Wednesday morning.
Of course.
So he has to be there at 8 o'clock.
Yeah, of course. Thank you.
Yeah. I'll make him take a photo.
There you go. He's doing a great job.
Do a cardboard.
Yeah, he looks a little like a surfer.
Surfer, yeah. Just surrounded in a surfer, blonde hair.
Cool.
He's a very nice kid. He tries really hard. It's been really difficult. It's been more difficult to work virtually, as we all know, but he's really stepped up to the plate, and he, you know, even at home in Colorado Springs, when they all had to go home, he kept in there, hung in there with me. So he's doing a good job.
All right, well, thanks everyone. If there are any other questions before we leave?